Okay, guys, we are going to do just a select few. We'll first start with the rewriting. So remember there's a little 2 here, so I need to make sure first off that I use parentheses around the 3n because everything is underneath the square root. And the index, which is the number that sits on the radical, always goes in the bottom of that fractional exponent. Parentheses are key. We'll be counted off for that. So if we go to number 4, I don't mind if, you rewrite it or you move it because it's a negative. That doesn't matter to me. What I'm concerned about is that you understand that 5n is all being raised to the 1/3. So you could also write it 5n to the negative 1/3. Would mean the same thing, but there's no simplifying. This is just a rewriting. Do you understand where the index goes? Do you understand that it needs to be all in parentheses? So that's just the rewriting to exponential. So the other part of that is we use the rewriting to simplify. So for instance, 36 will get the 3 halves, and then this is called a power. So it's going to multiply with 6. So 6 times 3 over 2 will be 18 over 2, which will be k to the 9th. And then what I do from there is I work on my number. Remember, the laws of exponents, the rules of exponents apply to only exponents. Numbers do what they always do. So in this case, I'm going to rewrite this as square root of 36 to the 3rd, because there's a little 2 here. So that would be 6 to the 3rd. And when I don't know where I was going for there. 216 k to the 9th. Alright, so let's look at number 8. Number 8, the way I like to tackle these problems is handle any powers first, then deal with the negatives, then add and subtract. So we'll just stop there for... So what I'm going to do is first handle this inside parentheses. So that's a to the negative 5th, b to the 25th, ab squared to the 3rd. So now what I need to do is I'm going to multiply this 3 by everything. I know, I could combine my a's. You can do that. I'm just showing you what I do. It doesn't matter. So then it's a to the negative 15th, b to the 75th, and a to the 3rd, b to the 6th. So at this point, I got rid of powers. Now I'm going to move things that are negative. So a to the 15th on top, a3, b4 move down, b75 still there, a3, b6. So powers, negatives, now I can worry about adding and subtracting things together. So if you see, I guess the a's, right? There's 6 of them here, 3 plus 3, but there's 15 on top. So that's going to be a to the 9th on top. And then you have b to the 4th, b to the 75th, and b to the 6th adds to b to the 85th. Okay, so that's how I tackle those problems. Powers, negatives, add and subtract. And then there's your answer. So, if we jump down to number 14, okay, powers first. So, I don't concern myself with these. I'm going to write this in the right order. I don't like that. So I multiply this, I get x to the 35 over 16, y to the 35 over 16. Okay, now I'm going to move negatives. Guess what? They all move down. So there's nothing on top. I'm going to add 35 over 16 with the one that's coming down here. So that I'm going to need to make that 16 over 16. So that would be x to the 51 over 16. When I bring this 3 halves down, 35 over 16 is going to need to add with the 3 halves. So 3 halves I need to make into a common denominator. So when I add 3 halves and 35 over 16, that's 24, I think. Hold on. Multiply by 8, yeah, 24 over 16. And so when I add those two, I get y 39 over 16. So the problem is, though, so, right, powers, negatives, now and I added and subtracted there. Now I can't leave those two there. So what I need to do is I need to add something to these in order to move them up because I can't leave those fractions. So if I was to, where did this come from? That should be 59. So what I need to do is I need to put another x and another y, and I need to figure out what would be the next number 16 would divide into after 51. And so if I was to make that 13 over 16, and so that would add to 64 over 16. So I need to put it up here, 13 over 16. I also need to cover my y's too, which 5/16 would add and get 64 over 16. And so on the denominator, they both end up being 64 over 16, and that would be x to the fourth and y to the fourth. And then on the numerator, that's what they end up looking like. So again, it's the same process. Powers, negatives, add and subtract. Then worry about, then your very last step should be to figure out how to get rid of the fractional exponents in the denominator. Alright, so same thing here, right? Hold on. Alright, so same thing here. I'm going to worry about, hold on, let's do a more difficult one. Let's do this one. So, I'm going to multiply. So, x to the negative 1, y to the 2/9, x to the 5/12, x to the first, y to the 3/6, over, don't forget this goes down here too, y to the 3/6. Okay, now what I do, I move negative exponents. So this guy moves down, goes away. So now we will worry about adding and subtracting. So these cancel. Y'all probably already saw that. So be it. You can do it that way. X to the 5/12. Sorry, I have a cough drop in my mouth, which is why I'm talking funny. Then, that's funny. Look what also happens. These two cancel because you subtract those. Y to the 2/9. And we're good because there is no fractional exponents in the denominator. Awesome. Alright, so that was so easy. Why don't we go ahead and do 24 together? So 24, I'm going to handle the powers. So let's talk about this negative 1. Okay, this negative 1 would be raised to the negative first. Well, negative 1 to the negative first is still going to be negative 1. So I know my answer, well, at least this portion will still be negative. So negative 1, x to the third, y to the negative fifth, bring down everything else. Now, in this case, I won't necessarily move anything negative because I just want to kind of see maybe where we're at. So I'm going to add all the x's. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 5 is 10, x to the 10th. Y to the negative fifth, y to the third makes it y to the negative second. So y to the negative second would move down. Now let's talk about these two negatives. A negative times a negative is a positive, so there is our final answer. Alright, one more. Oh, another rewriting. So I'm going to put a square root, a 4p underneath. The 3 is the index, and then to the fifth. Or I can also write it like this, but in this case, you have to have parentheses inside with that. I prefer the first way, but it absolutely doesn't matter. Alright, so let's get to some solving ones. I'm not going to do the easy ones. I showed all my work on the answers I sent out, so let's do the difficult ones that maybe I didn't show all my work on. So, number 46. I'm going to square both sides because the square root is isolated. And what happens is, on this side, it's b minus 4 times b minus 4. And if we're really quick at multiplying, which would help you on the test, when I distribute this out, it's b squared minus 8b plus 16. In this case, it is a quadratic, so we want to factor it. So that would be b squared minus 12v, I don't know where I got that from. Okay, and so then we factor it, b minus 9, b minus 3, b equals 9 and 3. Now let's make sure, okay? If I was to plug in 9 minus 4 is 5, I plug in 9, that's 36 minus 11, 25, square root of 25 is 5. Okay, they check. 3 is a problem. The reason 3 is a problem, if I plug in 3, that's 3 minus 4. That's going to be negative 1. Well, if you have a square root equal to a negative, that's not possible, especially if you're not solving. You're just trying to check if it's true. Not solving, check if it's true. This one would not be included as a solution. Alright, so let's do one of the other ones that's more difficult. That would be... Oh, let's talk about one thing up here. What does this really mean? It really means this. So, to get rid of a square root, you square both sides. So, making those connections with the exponents and the radicals is good. So, I'm going to square both sides because I can't fully isolate a square root, but I can square both sides. So, what's going to happen is this side gets to come out. This side is going to be much more than what I show you, or than just squaring. Not I show you. What am I talking about? Alright, so square root times square root gets to come out. Square root times negative 2 square root of 2p minus 1. Multiply those, negative 2 square root of 2p minus 1. Then negative 2 times negative 2 plus 4. I'm running out of room. Alright, so then I work on isolating the square root again. So, this and this make 3. 2p plus 3 minus 4 square root of 2p minus 1. These two come together. This was our last strategy on 12.3, so if you're wondering where we're getting this from. Alright, so now I'm going to keep getting it by itself. I'm going to subtract 2p. I'm going to subtract 3. Sorry, I'm making sure my work is right. Alright, subtract 2p, I get, okay, I'm good. Oh man, I'm running out of room. Let's see, I'm gonna fit it in right here. Alright, so then we get a negative 3p and a 3 equals negative 4 square root of 2p minus 1. So that this won't divide nicely. I talked about this the other day, that if you want to, you can square this and square this. 3 minus 3p. Obviously, if you had one of these on the test, it would be much shorter than this one. Okay, so what I did is I squared this and I squared this. Well, this gets to come out. This turns into 16. So this is 32p minus 16 equals 9. That's minus 9p. 9 minus 9p is going to be 18p plus 9p squared. I'm going to subtract 32. My goodness, add 16. Subtract 32. Add 16. I'm trying to go quick because I'm a little behind. And look what happens. I make mistakes. Alright, so let's see what we have. We have, running out of room again. We have, oh, this is perfect. No, it's not. I feel like the sermon may have messed up. Let me check. stumped. Something went wrong. Let's see what went down. Just checking everything. Minus 2p's, 3p. Probably some of y'all are already seeing, and good for you, because I can't find my mistake. So that's ho-hum. Poop. So that's what I got. It seems to be right. So let's do, I don't have a calculator in front of me. 9 times 25. So I'm going to do a little slide and divide. So, p squared minus 50p minus plus 50p minus 225. So 225 is 15 and 15. It doesn't, something is not going on. Okay, so y'all can, man, I'm really agitated. So what you get is you get a bonus problem. Okay, Miss Sermon's going to work number 45. Let's hope I don't wreck this one. Alright. Okay, so square root of 7 minus v. This is number 45. Since I messed up that one, I wasn't going to do this one. Squared, squared. I'm going to take my time. 7 minus v, negative 5, plus square root of 4v minus 3. And I'm working along the same process, so hopefully you can just follow me. Alright, so, doesn't turn out nice. What I could do, though, let's see if that is legal. Let's see. That's not going to work out nice, right? So, let's not do that. Let's square both sides. Can't forget that's negative. So, negative 15 minus 5e times negative 15 minus 5e equals 20, because you square the negative. Nope. Equals is it 100? This is too funny. Miss Sermon is just. Good stuff. Alright. 15. Once again, I feel like I'm doing this wrong. It's probably because I'm rushing again. Preston's probably wondering where I am. Okay, so I'm gonna go check something. I have a feeling. Good. Good. Okay, they were all divisible by 25. Woo. Alright, so you feel good now. That means my answer I sent out is probably wrong, actually, now that I look at it. B equals 21, B equals 1. So then we have to test if that makes sense or not. And I'm running out of time, so I'm not going to check it. So you risk maybe a point or two on the test if you don't check it. But we will talk about, well, good luck. Do what you want to on the review. Don't feel like you have to do it all. And I will see you tomorrow.